Hey guys, how's it going? It's been a tremendously long time. Terribly sorry about that. But it's springtime now, and everyone knows that springtime is a gorgeous time of year. The motorcycles are out and about in the hills in a big way. You walk outside and you hear the buzz and the thump and the purr and the growl of motorcycles. It's a glorious time to be out and about. I've also seen a few Australian motorcyclists on YouTube have been releasing a few videos lately, and I thought, that's my calling. I know when it's time. There's an unspoken message that has been conveyed and received, and it's time. I'm out and about. I've been motorcycling to and from work every day, but I leave early when it's cold and I get home when it's dark, and it's just not conducive to making silly videos. Anyway, a little while back I introduced you to the idea of the Infinity tyre for the motorcycle, a tyre powered and driven by nanotechnology, a tyre which is able to adhere to pieces of rubber scattered across the road, to take on that rubber, and then you can dial in a new tread pattern. It can be marketed and sold as a tyre that never wears out and that can be modified to suit any type of riding. I know, a brilliant idea. In addition to the holy grail, that golden desire for a never-ending motorcycle tyre on behalf of motorcyclists, the Western world has an agenda of protecting the environment. And I'm in that camp as well. We've only got one world and we need to look after it. And I do feel guilty that motorcycling burns a lot of petrol. We go through a lot of tyres. It does leave some carbon footprint. So I've been wondering whether there is a way to reduce that carbon footprint. What really interests and excites me is the possibility of harnessing nature to create a natural powered motorcycle which is good for the environment and nature. Utilizing the environment to support the environment. How good would that be? How much of a warm, cozy, emotionally gratifying experience would that be? Riding a motorcycle that leaves a positive footprint for the environment. So I was thinking about what element of the nature could we harness to this degree, right? And I think an obvious one to me is animals. Using the power of animals to power a motorbike in nature. And I was wondering about what animals. It would need to be an animal with a pretty high metabolism and a passion for running. So the first animal that I thought of was a hamster. Hamsters, they freaking love running in their wheels, don't they? You put a hamster near a wheel and it's just like, oh, my life is made. Best life ever. There's a wheel. Let's go for a little jog, shall we? They love running. So here's the idea. We could take the motorcycle wheel, increase the width just slightly, and hollow out the inside of the wheel and create a little running path along the interior of the wheel. And you could, I feel like I could squeeze 25 hamsters into a motorcycle wheel end to end, and they could just run and run, couldn't they? Fantastic. And they would just run and run and run and run, and you could, like, their running would propel the wheel forward, which would carry the rest of the motorcycle forward. You could have 25 up front and 25 in the rear wheel. You could even have a dual rear wheel, a trike setup, and you could have 25, 25, and 25 with a combined force of a 75 hamster power. We can just abbreviate that to HP, which makes it easier. 25 in each is 75 hamster power motorcycle. I mean, this motorcycle here is only about 45 HP and it runs off petrol, and it's terrible for the environment. So a 75 HP motorcycle that runs off hamster power. I think we're talking an environmentally feasible and sustainable idea, guys. I'm excited about that idea. But hamster power, HPs, it's not all about HPs. So I was thinking, what other elements of nature or animals could we harness and use to this degree? You know, I was thinking about dogs. Some working dogs and greyhounds and stuff, they're built for running. They also wake up in the morning and they're like, wait a second, I'm not bored running. I can go for a run. And they do. And I've never seen them again. When you see a working dog and you're like, go for a run, and then it's just gone forever. Like, oh, we lost our working dog. It loves running too much. It's never coming back. Let's face reality and get a new working dog so it can run away. So we could use dogs, and people do love dogs. We would need a slightly wider tyre, and a tyre which is substantially larger in diameter. We wouldn't fit as many dogs in. You wouldn't have a 75 DP powered motorcycle. But if you are a dog person, it's perfect. Because dogs, yeah? Some people are. I'm a dog person, yeah. I would love to have dogs. The final idea was horses, because these things, the index of power for a motorcycle is horsepower as it is, or hamster power as it be, horsepower, yeah? So we can use horses, and if you have a single horse, it's a single horsepower motorcycle. 2 horses, you've got a 2 horsepower motorcycle. And 30 horses, and you've got a 30 horsepower motorcycle. Perfect. So I was wondering, well, why don't we literally harness a horse and attach it to the front of the motorcycle, and the horse can just pull the motorcycle. It's perfect, isn't it? And then you could have 2 horsepower, you could have 3 horsepower. This thing's 45 horsepower. So I was thinking, rather than a single line of 45 horses, you could have like 5 abreast and go 9 deep. So you've got 45 horses pulling this bike. How cool would that be? 45 literal horsepower motorcycle. Woo! And then I was thinking, well, maybe all of the jolting back and forth of horses starting and stopping at different times and controlling them, and it's quite a lot of jarring through the motorcycle. So I was thinking maybe we could, instead of steel, which isn't very forgiving, we could build the motorcycle frame out of wood, because that is a bit more forgiving. It soaks up some of that jolting force, and not so much of that jolting force is transferred through to the rider. So we've got 45 horsepower horses and a wooden motor. And then I was thinking, well, if the horses veer off to the left or veer off to the right sharply, it might twist the handlebars, and all of a sudden you're low siding into the ground, you're high siding into the ground, and crashing. So that's actually really, really dangerous, isn't it? So rather than a 2-wheel motorcycle, we could have a 4-wheel motorcycle. So more like a quad bike, right? More like a quad bike, and that would be more comfortable anyway. And you've got this wooden frame quad bike with 45 horses out in front, and you'd be tearing along, wouldn't you? You'd be having a great time. But then I thought, a true thorough motorcyclist who really cares about the environment would also want to get back to basics with nature. And I think what that would entail would be doing away with all of this electronic stuff, all of this gadgetry that we have on our motorcycles, the phone holders, the auxiliary lights, the neutral indicator switch unit thing, the electric stuff. There's no need for any of that. So let's just do away with the whole wiring loom, the whole lighting system. There's no need for any of it. So all of a sudden we've got this wooden frame 4-wheel motorcycle tethered to 45 horses screaming along. And then I thought, well, it's sort of a fixed gear thing, you're going or you're not. So why don't we have, instead of like this little throttle to control the speed of the motorcycle, whoop, 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 why don't we transfer that motion, why don't we transfer that to some way of telling the horses, to conveying a message to the horses that they should go faster or slow down. And I was wondering what that could be. G'day. Woo! I was wondering what that could be. And I think it would be possible to have a small piece of rope that we're able to, swing in the air and crack like a whip, crack it. And the horses would receive that as a message to go up a gear, and then we could pull on the reins to go down a gear. I think I've invented an environmentally sustainable motorcycle, guys. I mean, not so much of a motorcycle as a horse-drawn wagon / chariot, but environmentally sustainable nonetheless. And you know what the best part of this motor... Oh my god, the hills are beautiful, aren't they? These winding roads are just sensational. You know what the best part of this horse-drawn wooden four-wheeled motorcycle is? Instead of just getting to name one motorbike, and I know a lot of you name your motorcycles, instead of just naming one motorcycle, you get to name 45 horses. How cool is that? This motorbike is named Stampede. And I take thorough enjoyment in naming and referring to my motorcycle as having a personality. I could derive that sense of enjoyment 45 times. Amazing. So next time you see me, it's very likely that I won't be riding this bike. I'll be riding a slightly different looking bike with an avalanche of horses out in front. The same amount of power, just as even safer to ride, but better for the environment. Cheers, guys. See ya.